guys, welcome back to BellaVet. I just finished my first semester of vet school and I've been wanting to give you guys a vet school update, so I figured now would be a really great time to do it. So first thing, I have been getting a lot of questions that are asking what is vet school like, and vet school is really hard. I have been taking anatomy, physiology, microanatomy, so a lot of people call it histology, cell biology, and neuroscience. And those add up to about 18 credit hours. And you know, in undergrad where you had that one class that kind of took up most of your study time that semester, well, in vet school, all of your classes are like that one really hard class, and they all take a lot of time dedication. And some are still harder than others, but you really need to space out your time evenly. So I also want to talk to you guys a little bit about when I first got to vet school. I had this really overwhelming feeling of self-doubt, and you know, going into vet school, I knew that it would be the hardest thing that I had ever done, but saying that and feeling it are two totally different things. And going into my first round of exams, I didn't know if I was going to be able to get the grades that I needed. I didn't know if I could do it, and that was a really scary feeling. And coming out of my first semester, that feeling is slowly starting to fade, and talking to my classmates about how the beginning of the semester was so overwhelming, I realized that we were all feeling that way, and it's actually a really normal feeling to have. So if you're in your first semester and you're feeling really overwhelmed, definitely try talking to your classmates, talk to your professors, because they've seen so many people go through these programs and they know that that is a really normal thing to feel. And if you're still feeling overwhelmed after watching this video, go check out Dr. Cody Creelman. He's on YouTube, and he has this video called A Message That Every Vet Student Needs to Hear, and you should go watch it because I watched it when I was feeling really overwhelmed and it helped me out a lot. So I'll link it down in the description bar. One of my biggest questions that I had during my first couple weeks of vet school was, you know, will this get any easier? Will this get any better? And I was asking some of the second year students, and I was asking even some of my friends in med school, and the general consensus that I was getting back was, no, it's not gonna get any easier, you'll just get used to it. And that was so disheartening to hear during your first couple weeks, because that's all you want. You just want to get better at it. And going through my first semester, I realized that they were right about, you know, the classes won't get any easier, but you will just get better at managing your time, and you'll get better at managing yourself, and you'll get a better handle on it, and so things will get better. You know, it's a lot like treading water, and at the beginning you don't even know how to swim, and they throw the first wave of exams at you, and it's really hard. And you know, as you go along, you will learn how to swim, and the waves will never get any smaller, but you'll become a much better swimmer, and because of that, it will get better. So just know that. So another question that I get a lot is, how do you study? And this question is really hard to answer because everyone studies differently. And when I was asking it, when I first started vet school, it was really frustrating because no one would give me, you know, a straight answer, because they would just say, well, everyone studies differently, you just have to figure it out. And for me personally, I, in undergrad, would study by rewriting all of my notes. And in vet school, I just don't have time for that. But I go to a school that really utilizes objectives, which are a series of questions that go along with each lecture. And if you can answer all of the questions by the time you're done studying, that means that you have a pretty good grasp on the material. So during lecture, I use my Surface Pro 3 and I handwrite out my notes as the lecture is going, and then when I come back home and study for that class, I take the objectives and I write out, I like type up everything from the lecture that pertains to that objective, and I make a little study guide out of it. And then when I actually get around to studying for that exam, I take that study guide that I made and I handwrite all the stuff that's tripping me up, or all the stuff that I keep on forgetting, on a little one-page handwritten study guide. So that way I see it multiple times and I still get to do a little bit of handwriting. But yeah, so that's how my studying has changed a little bit from undergrad to grad school. So I also just got done with my very first vet school finals week, and it was absolutely insane. And honestly, I haven't quite fully mentally processed it yet, but what I can tell you guys is that I had about 10 exams within a 10-day period, and I was getting 6 hours of sleep a night, which I do not recommend. But I think I was able to do as well as I did on them because I really managed my time well. I took a sheet of paper and I wrote out every day for 2 weeks, and I wrote out all of my exams that I had, and I wrote a little initial for under each day for every subject that I had to study that day, and that really helped me look at everything as a big picture and what I need to study when. I also had a really great support system. I called my mom a lot, and I asked my big, who's a second year, lots of questions about what to expect for these exams, and my roommate is also a second year, so I talked to her a bunch. I went to every review that they held, and basically you just really have to use your resources and you have to manage your time as well as you can. So I did want to talk to you guys a little bit about my social life because, believe it or not, I do have one. And I'm an out-of-state student, so a lot of my friends are vet students. And I think a large part of how my friendships formed so fast was because of our orientation. A lot of bonding happened in those 3 days, and I honestly can't imagine what vet school would have been like not having had all of that bonding experience before our first day of school. Vet school also gives you a really unique situation. It's honestly a lot more like high school than it is like college, but not necessarily in a bad way. You have 120 people who you walk around with all day long, and I never really feel like I'm alone. I never really feel like I don't have people to sit with at lunch, even if my closest friends aren't in the room. You know, you have so much in common with all of your classmates, and you've talked to all of them at least once, and I just feel like I can sit down with anyone and strike up a conversation. Also, my friends and I do a pretty good job of grabbing a drink or going on a hike at least once a weekend, or grabbing dinner after a big exam, because you do have to stop and celebrate all of the little victories along the way. So I am an out-of-state student, so when I moved to Missouri, I didn't know anyone in the entire state, and I thought it was gonna take a lot longer to make friends and find my group, and I definitely underestimated how tight-knit of a professional community that veterinary medicine is. And so basically, if you're worried about not making friends in vet school, don't be, because, you know, we all are going through this and it's really hard, and these people, your classmates, are going to be the only ones who truly understand what you're going through, and that actually fosters an environment that's really easy to make friends. I want to talk to you guys about one last thing, and this is especially directed towards any of you guys who are still in high school. I just wanted to let you know that studying and all of this book work did not always come easy to me. You're talking to someone who got a 21 the first time they took their ACT, and while it's not a bad score, it wasn't nearly as high as the score that I wanted, or the schools that I applied to wanted me to have. And you know, I came into college with 0 AP credits, and I was still able to get my prerequisite courses done within 3 years, and you know, apply to vet school early. And I just want all of you to know that you don't have to be this super hyper smart genius to get into vet school, but you know, you do have to be a really, really hard worker, and that's what I attribute a lot of my successes to, and why I was able to get into vet school a year earlier than most. And so I just want you guys to know that you shouldn't count yourselves out if you don't have AP credits, or if you don't get the score in the ACT that you wanted to, because it is still very well possible that you can get to wherever you want to go. So I hope you guys really liked this vet school update video. My next video is going to be a Q&A, so if you have any questions, please ask them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.